Alrighty, so we're going to continue on with your self-introduction video. This self-introduction video, you should have already completed the first part of already working up your script here and then putting it into the teleprompter and filming it. Hopefully you have already gone here and downloaded, for this first part here, downloaded the files where you click on this link. And when you click that link, it opens up a page here. And I'm going to just simply start with the very first folder. I'm going to select it by clicking once, and then I can scroll all the way down. Notice it pauses a second or two as it loads them into the browser. And then once I get down to the very bottom, I'm going to press and hold the shift key and click on the very bottom one, and then just wait a second. You can see it took a second or so for that to select all of them. Then I can right click onto them and then choose download. And it's going to create a zip file and download them. And it's quite a few files, so it's going to take a minute or two. Once those files are completely downloaded, then I will come here to Finder. So Finder's, again, this two little face kind of thing there. I'm going to go to Finder, and then with Finder selected, I'm going to come here under Go, and I'm going to press and hold the Alt or Option key. So again, Finder, Go. Then when I press and hold that Alt or Option key, you can kind of see it here. Let me zoom in. You can see it says Library, and you're going to choose Library. Okay. Otherwise, that library doesn't show unless you push and hold that Alt or Option down. Okay. Then switching views here, I'm going to choose just simply Application Support for Adobe. Then I'm going to choose the Common. So this shares things between the different applications. So I'm going to choose the Common, and then the Motion Graphics Templates. What you're going to do is have this window open, and then if you want, you can come open another window. That makes things easier. I'm going to come here into my download. You can see there is that little zip file that was created. If I opened this in Safari, it would already extract it, but I did it in Chrome, so I have to double click. That creates this extraction of it. Again, that's not needed if I downloaded it via Safari. It would have already done it. And then I'm going to take the inside of these contents of this folder. So I'm going to select the first thing again, scroll down to the very last one, and you can see I've got duplicates in there. That's why it has that one after it. But I'm not going to actually be transferring these over, but what I would do is then click and drag them over, okay, and then drop them in. I already have them installed, so I'm good to go. But ultimately, you'll want them in your Motion Graphics Templates. If you already have them installed, don't double install them. It just makes things a little more difficult and complicated later on as things progress, okay? All right, from there, I'm going to come here into Adobe Premiere. I'm going to say New Project. I'm going to simply call this Self-Intro, got to type it right, S-E-L-F, Intro Video. There we go. Okay, hit OK. Then I need to import in some of the things. Let's go ahead and start by importing in the video, the actual video. So I'm going to come here to my desktop. I've got those two videos that I recorded earlier today for this purposes. I'm going to go ahead and select both of them, and I can go ahead and choose to import those in. Okay, and there they are. Okay, currently I am looking at Workspaces All Panels, and that gives me all these additional panels over here. Otherwise, it looks very similar to what we had with editing. Editing over here on the far left, we had our input, then we had where we were working here, these two panels, but there wasn't anything over here to the right. So this all panels then kind of moves those things over, and then it gives you all these additional panels over here on the far right. And what you're going to work with some is this Essential Graphics. You can see there it imported in all those. You're going to be required to use at least 3 different things, and I'm going to tell you the 3 things that you're going to have to use. You're going to create a lower third, you're going to create a transition, and then you're going to create subtitles. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here editing our video. I'm going to go ahead and double click on my first clip. That pulls it into my little browser here for source browser. Okay, again, source browser here. So I really don't need to trim much off at all at the very beginning. I could have it kind of right there. I'm going to press I for end. I can scroll to the very end. Very passionate about cycling, and So I'm going to just stop after I say cycling. I'm going to just have it right there. And to do that, I'm going to press O, and then I can click and drag that down to my timeline. Okay? That creates a sequence. Okay? Notice here, a little icon here, it's a little different than the others. These are the video clips with audio tool. That's the sequence that we just created. It's just not named. If I needed to, I could rename that little sequence right there and just call it my clip if I wanted. That's fine. That way I know it's different. Okay? Go ahead and go to my second clip. So a couple other things about me. I have 2 wiener dogs. And I'm going to fast forward to the end. In your life. Talk to you later. And I really don't need to cut anything off of that, so I'm going to just drag and drop it out. Now, one of the first things I said that you're going to need was a lower third. Okay? A lower third is this idea if I took and divided my screen into thirds. Okay? So there would be the top third, the middle third, and then the bottom third. A lower third is just that. It goes on the bottom third. So you've got quite a few different lower thirds over here to choose from. Doesn't really matter to me which one you choose. I would choose one that probably has the least amount of text. So I'm going to choose this Easy Edit Lower Thirds _2 there. I'm going to just drag and drop it out onto my timeline. It's going to take a second or two. I may get even a little warning dialog that says, hey, I need to download the fonts. If so, just select the fonts so that it will then sync it up via the Adobe Creative Cloud, and it'll sync those fonts. Okay. With that clip selected, and you can see it's highlighted there all the way around it, notice that this box changes. With that box changes, now I can change the information there, right? So it used to say her name, Pamela Fletcher, but now it says my name there, okay? But notice it's still kind of right here in the middle third. Well, I don't want it there in the middle third. So you can see we've got different things here. One is size of the text, where the text is located on the X and Y. So this is where that text is located. I don't really want to mess around with that. The line scale, how big the line is or long it is, depending on your name, if you're needing extended out further or not. And then we have the main scale. This is the main scale of the whole thing, whether you want a background, which you really don't want, to it. But then you have the position. This is the overall position with the X and the Y. And I'm going to drop that down, and I'm going to drop it down to right about there, about 1/3. So it's sitting at the lower third. So now you can see when I play that. So I think it's probably about time that I introduce myself. My name is Ed Gans. I actually started using YouTube probably in about... And then it goes away right after I kind of say my name and carry on with it, okay? So you can see how that kind of works. So that's one element that you're going to need is a lower third. The next element you're going to need is a transition. So I could come back here under Browse, and if I wanted to, there's a little search window right there, and I can just simply start typing trans. You can see it pulls up the transitions. Notice I've got some duplicates in there. But if I wanted to, I could just continue to type the word transition and then just press enter, and it's going to pull them all up as a preview. Now to see what these transitions actually look like without having to drag them out one by one, there is a website. The website is quite easy. It is just that. It is Easy Edit Pro. And then under Easy Edit Pro, there is some YouTube Essentials. So if I just went to Easy Edit Pro, let me get rid of all that other stuff that's there. Easy Edit Pro, show you what the website looks like. Looks similar to this. This is these YouTube Essential Graphics. So we can go ahead and click that. Then it's going to bring up a page that's going to talk about them all. It has a preview to them all. And you can kind of see over here on the far left, it has those sections. And I'm going to just press transitions. So these are the transitions where it can transition from one clip into the next. And you're able to choose any one of these that just really, that you'll enjoy and feel that matches with your personality. I'll just go with the first one. It's pretty easy there. Easy transition 1. And I'm going to drag it and position it almost right here. Now again, how do I zoom into this timeline? Plus, we'll make it a little larger there. Command plus, makes the video clip larger. Alt plus makes that audio a little larger as well. Okay, I'm going to move my playhead here, and I can see right there's where I almost don't have enough room really. I should have paused a second or two longer at the end of it and or at the beginning of it. So let's see if I've even got that. So a couple other things about me. So it's really almost need to pull this clip back a little bit. So what I'm going to do here is kind of position this exactly where I need it. So I can see right there at the very end, I need that clip to have where it's going to go right there. So, says I got a crash. So let me pause this video and come back after the crash. So I had to close, or it closed Premiere, and I reopened it, did a few things, created an additional clip here, and it actually opened this up now as a copy, which is fine. That way it doesn't save anything that's bad to it, okay? So what I'm going to do is actually just move and slide this clip out a little bit further so I can just focus right here on this first half of this transition. I can see right at that point, right there is where the actual, and you can step this forward frame by frame right here, right? So you've got some options into it, but I can see where that is going to have this, and I'm going to put my kind of play bar in through this, right? So it's going to want to snap, so if you need to, you can come over here and turn off the magnet so it doesn't snap. And what I'm going to do is actually position this. Very passionate about cycling. I want to move it just a little further out so I can just have it right there. Very passionate about cycling. Okay, and I can see, hey, that's when that really takes effect, right fully there. So yeah, even a little further wouldn't hurt, a little bit further here. All right. Cycling. And then I'm going to move this one almost to that end spot of it right there. Very passionate about cycling. So a couple other things about me. I have 2 wiener dogs. So it actually gives me a little more time actually in through there too. So you can kind of see that. So I've added a transition now. So say that very nice, friendly, easy to get along with. Some other things about me. I love cycling. Very passionate about cycling. So a couple other things about me. I have 2 wiener dogs, Tina and Oliver. I also have a... Okay. Now the last thing that I said that you're going to need is subtitles. Okay. So I'm going to come back here, browse, and I'm going to type in subtitles. You can see there's 3 different options there. I'm going to just choose the third one. It's fine. And I'm going to click and drag it out. And I'm going to bring it actually over here. I don't want my subtitles. I don't want to have to do subtitles until after this lower third kind of ends. To probably in about the mid 2000s. So what I'm going to do there with the subtitles, notice when I have it selected, it gives me some lines here for text. And those are those 3 lines. This is the text properties here. So there's the source text. I'm going to just simply call this self-introduction. So there's my self-introduction. Then what I'm going to do is go to my script, and in my script I can actually just kind of come back to my script here. And if you need to, you should be able to access it via Canvas, probably your Google Doc or a text edit, either way. And then you should be able to copy and paste a few lines of it in. Now notice it only had room for 3 lines, right? So you don't want too much text there at any one time. So here I am saying, hey, I've been using, and for how long? Okay, so I could come back over here and then just paste that in. I've been using YouTube for, and I think I say actually I've been using YouTube since 2006, whatever. Okay, here I'm going to say but I think it's time for an introduction. And you can see how this is going to start progressing. You're going to come through, do the additional text as needed, right? And you're going to really put your script in for the entire thing there, right? If you need to, you can shorten it by shortening the time span that it is, okay? And notice when I do that, when I'm dragging this, you look right here in that other little window, it'll kind of show you time-wise where that's going to, where it's coming from, the duration of it as well. So I can then take that, and if I lock down my other layers here, right, so I lock that. If I wanted, I could use that Alt or Option key, and I should be able to click and drag and create another one. So now I've got the exact same thing here. I just need to come back and redo my text writ, so that then when it's playing
probably in about the mid 2000s, although really that time was just watching the early content of it, really didn't do much else with it. Since then, just the last,
there's some additional things I could do. Okay, one is I could adjust this coloring to it, right? I could adjust the scale or position to it, right? Also notice I have some things here with the font I could adjust to try helping so that it's not coming up right onto my face. Like when I'm back here talking, you can see that's kind of cutting off my chin. It's a little awkward and through there. Okay, so what I'm going to choose to do though is take a look here under the color, and I notice, hey, I've got a few options in through here. Those are all solid colors, but what I can do as well is make the transparency of this kind of go down, the opacity of it. To do that, I'm going to come here under my effects controls, okay? And then one of the things with that selected is opacity. So for this particular one, I'm going to drop that opacity down some so that I can see through it. And see, I just dropped it to 75. Here, I may or may not need to do that. I think I'm going to continue that throughout. I think I like that look and effect to it. So I'm going to drop it either 70. Probably want to keep it consistent, whatever I do. So if I do one at 70, I probably want to do them all at 70, right? So then I'm going to just continue that throughout this entire video clip, all right? So I'm going to have those coming in and out with any and all the text that's there. If I need to reposition them, reshape the size of it, reshape the size, do whatever thing that needs to be done. Once you're through editing everything onto your video, okay, once you've included the lower third, the transition, and the subtitles for the entire script subtitles, right? Then I want you to come back under File. You need to have this sequence selected, and you're going to choose Export Media. Okay. Once you get all that done, a little dialog box will open up. I want you to choose under the drop-down menu, H264 is the format. Output, you need to click here under Output so you know, one, where it's going to go. I'm going to call this self-intro underscore, or maybe not, video, right? Something along those lines, whatever works for you. Hit Save. Now that doesn't export it out, that just saved where we're going to export it to. I don't want to mess with any of these other additional savings right now. I would tell you at home you can probably publish, and publish you can send it straight to YouTube. Here at school with the schools network, sometimes that's not the best option, but what I'm going to do is just ignore that. I'm going to have it go to my desktop, and I'm going to press Export. You can see it's going to take a minute or two. The more graphics that you add in, the longer it's going to take to export. So let's go ahead and jump back over here. I'm going to open up a new tab. Log into your granitesd.org Google account. Then come here. You may not have yours showing. You may have to come under More and then look and drag this icon up, whatever it is for the YouTube, right? So that you have YouTube up there. Now I moved mine all the way up to the top. You can see that mine was originally probably down here. I just simply moved it up to the top to make it more accessible for this course. Okay. Then under that, you're going to have it selected, right? You want to select your account, right? Your Granger, excuse me, not Granger, but Granite SD account. Okay. I'm going to click the little plus. that's going to upload a video. Hopefully our video is through exporting now. I could come back. I don't see that dialog box is already gone. So it's probably there on the desktop. So let's try it out. It says select files to upload. Okay, if you remember, we put it to the desktop. I can come here to my desktop. Okay, there it is right there. I've got SelfIntroVideo, just what I named it. I can look at the timestamp if needed, today at 11:01, and I'm going to hit open. It's going to upload that. If I need to, I can reinsert that hyphen if that's what you like. Notice it's giving me a URL right here. Once you get the file name the way you want it, hit publish. Then it's going to give you a URL. That URL, you're going to want to copy that link's address. Okay, so notice I just right-clicked on it, copy link address. Okay, if not, once it's all said and done, there will be another little window that'll pop up here in just a moment. Notice it's going to take a little longer after it's uploaded to process, but that's fine. Then I'll come back to this assignment. Mine doesn't say it because I'm as the teacher, but you'll have submit. And then what you're going to submit is this URL. Okay, that's what you're submitting is the URL. So you'll submit the URL via Canvas, and that's what you turn into me. Okay, and then you can see, hey, that's what it's going to be. I could post that in there. That link, you can see it's going to take a minute or so.
So I think it's probably about time that I introduce myself. My name is Ed Gans.
As processing. So
I actually started using YouTube probably in about the mid-2000s. Although really at that time was just watching the early content of it. Really didn't do much else with it. Since then, just the last probably year or two, I've done a lot more with YouTube, posting content to it. Most would probably disagree with I work with. Simply say nice, friendly, easy to get along with. Some other things about cycling. Very passionate about cycling.
Okay, there was that.
So a couple other things about me. I have 2 wiener dogs.
All right, so there we go. And that's all there is to turning in this assignment. So